So this is a video that I've really been wanting to make for a while, and it's to talk to you and to talk to YouTube gaming specifically about the problems and the challenges that I have with the platform. Obviously, if you've been following this channel for any amount of time, you'll notice that we really stopped live streaming to YouTube pretty much altogether. Now, we've moved our live stream and highlight content over to a channel called Work to Play, and namely because we just looked at the information, we looked at the data, and we also looked at the sub loss that came along with live stream content, and it's clear that people want just a major difference between live stream content and video uploads, and that's what a lot of the people who said that they were unsubbing communicated. They were like, I didn't subscribe for live stream content. And so this is about YouTube gaming in complete total honesty. To set some context, if you guys aren't aware, YouTube has signed like Activision and Pro Gaming and all these different different organizations and even individuals over the course of the last month. Today, YouTube has actually signed PewDiePie, the biggest YouTuber out there, to stream exclusively to YouTube. He was recently doing it over at DLive for a little while, and this really kind of set me off in a way. Now, it's a positive video, but I really felt like this was a really good opportunity to sit down and talk about YouTube gaming as a whole. And the reason is it comes down to when we were like sitting here and we were talking about it and we're like, I like streaming to YouTube. I always have. I like the community here at YouTube. I like being able to do that on this channel. But when we look at it, we're saying once YouTube gaming specifically kind of took off the gaming perspective, it kind of went into the main site. It had its main app. We saw and we've seen some growing pains and some issues, and it's just not us here at Work to Game. It's in everybody that we talk to, into the point where we even talked to our YouTube manager, and they were saying that YouTube gaming is aware that there is like sub loss and sub issues there. And for me, it just was amount of frustration, because when you look at the tools, when you look at what like Twitch and Mixer are doing, they seem to be really obviously pushing live content, and they should, because when you look at everything out there, especially as it relates to gaming content, everybody's more interested in live content. And I mean, this is from publishers and game devs and things like that. You might not specifically be interested in more live content, but it seems like that is where a lot of the industry push is happening between Microsoft, Amazon, and even Google with YouTube. Now, live stream content is huge. It's only projected to grow even bigger. YouTube is actually a major player in the game. And so them signing PewDiePie and them signing these other streamers and even getting the rights to like pro gaming for certain esports is actually, I think, a really big move. And it's only a big move if something big is coming down the line when it comes to live streaming, when it comes to the tools that YouTube has. And this is where I really kind of first drew my first major complaint with YouTube gaming. This is when I wanted to sit down to make the video, but I felt I was too angry at the time, so I was like, I don't want to just make another angry rant video. YouTube gaming put out a video, and all it really was hitting on monetization. You can make money through super chat, you can make money through this, you can make money through that, and it felt so disconnected from what I think live streaming is all about. And we've seen that from content creators. We've seen that from the community at large, like with recent sub-shaming gate that comes off of Twitch, when people are saying like, oh, if you enjoy the content, how can you not? Like, it's not about subscribing. It's not about super chats. It's not about bits. It's not about that. I think it's about that interaction. And when YouTube gaming sat down and was like, and I get that there are people who make a living off of this, like PewDiePie makes a living. He's a full-time YouTuber. I get that there are people who are actively concerned in how they can support themselves when live streaming. Okay, that's a part of it, etc. But I don't think it's the crux. I don't know the people who actually are concerned about it were concerned about it when they got started, or they were concerned about it when they started to grow. And that's where I just felt like I was unheard. I felt that we've sat down and said it would be so amazing from a live stream perspective not to stress out the upload schedule if you were sitting here saying, yeah, it's a VOD. Treat it like a VOD. Don't treat it like an upload when it's done. Have it in its own section. Maybe allow you to ring the bell if you want to be notified about live content or not. Not just, they have the all personalized and none bell notifications, but expand that in terms of if you really want live content on your site, you've got to kind of treat live content differently than uploads. There are those within the community who love both pieces of content. And I'm not saying like you can only like one or the other. But what I am saying is that there is definitely a demand for one versus the other. And I think you got to give the community the ability and the tools to succeed in that. And I think that comes down to that notification bell. And I think it comes down to that channel page. Do you like live content? Yes or no? Yes. Here's what's live. No. Well, maybe we don't slam your feed with past, VODs in this case, within it. The other side of it is the highlights tool. Right now within YouTube, you can only highlight after the fact, or no, not after the fact, during the live stream. That's not really entertaining content to watch. Whereas if you go look at Twitch, one of the reasons why Twitch has just been where I've been live streaming more than anything else. When I live stream, I'm not always live, is that after the fact, I can highlight certain things. I can even automatically export those over to Work to Play. I have a lot of the control. And so we can kind of cut off all the fluff and just get to the really cool and interesting things, creating those highlights. The highlight control in and of itself is one of, I think, a real key differentiating factor between YouTube gaming and Twitch itself. I haven't been able to play around a lot with Mixer, but Mixer's making moves in the same way. Mixer just opened up to Microsoft Rewards, allowing you to subscribe to a Mixer streamer for free just by using Microsoft Rewards, which you get points for like using Bing and things like it's really interesting to see like where Twitch and Mixer are in terms of it. Obviously, Twitch having the greatest mind share in terms of gaming content that's live, but also the weakest when it comes to discoverability. YouTube having the greatest level of discoverability, obviously through its recommendations and how it uses that system, but then still not necessarily understanding the delicate balance between what an upload is and what a live stream is, and how there is some crossover, but you're stressing out the community in that way. So like all that being said, like that's kind of one of the core issues that I've had with it. So sorry for the jump cut. I just was reviewing my note, make sure I hit all the points that I wanted to talk about in my outline. I think the PewDiePie thing is makes sense. This is where he's grown. This is where he's home. I'm just curious to see if with his size audience, like, is that something that like his community, his audience is interested in? And if not, like, is this a good move overall for YouTube gaming? Because personally, I get from a business perspective, them wanting to invest in individual creators. I think that makes sense, especially locking them down. Your biggest creator, basically being on another platform doesn't necessarily bring confidence. But I hope that this is also coupled with the rollout of new tools, the rollout of new features, and not the constant rollout of more ways to make money and monetize the community, because that's like, it comes back down to that from a pure frustration perspective. I think Mixer and even now Twitch is like, they're responding to one another. So like with Mixer, you have the ability to cheer with Sparks. Like you have the ability to interact in fun ways on the stream for free by just being a part of that community. Individuals have levels. Like, it's a really smart system, and we're starting to see the same thing brought over in Twitch, where they have kind of their Twitch points, the channel points or whatever. By just watching and participating, you get things that you can do specifically that help allow you to engage in the stream itself without having to spend any money. And that, I think, is the real key thing. It should be, instead of creator focus, there's, like as a creator, I want tools like the highlight control, but it should be about improving the experience for that of the community to be able to participate in that live stream in fun and unique and interesting ways. I think the success story here, because when you look at the numbers, while Twitch has the edge, YouTube is still one of the biggest players, if not even bigger than Twitch in terms, especially of revenue from live stream content. I don't know. Maybe this is just the rantings of a crazy ginger on the internet just about this, but I think it should be community focused. I think that's what makes live streams interesting. I think that's what makes them fun. And we've tried in ways to use live stream tools to ourselves. Like when you look at YouTube versus Twitch, let's look at the raids. You have the raids and you have hosts. You know, like that feature in and of itself there's no translation over on YouTube. So, hey, click on this link and go watch so-and-so who's live. We don't have that way to kind of generate that hype and that excitement in the system. And I think we need to. I think if hopefully for some reason this comes across, you know, the desk at somebody at YouTube Gaming, hopefully these items are on their backlog. And hopefully this isn't the first time they've heard of them. When it comes to development, especially I know like whether you're at YouTube or you're anywhere else, there's a backlog and there's a priority, right? You only have so many resources, so much money, and so much time. What are you focusing in on getting done and getting done right? And obviously, like as people get adjusted to the new dashboard, there's definitely a lot of really cool features and things that this will hopefully empower them to do. The new live streaming dashboard, as we started to wind down streaming, because when we just looked at the numbers, I was like, well, like it looks like people just, and what they're telling us, don't want live streams on YouTube. Let's move them to a separate channel so that when somebody says, hey, I'm interested in your live content, we can say, yes, you can subscribe just to that. So the question is that I wonder if YouTube and PewDiePie in general, like, is he going to be on a different channel, PewDiePie Live? So that way, like his upload channel is his upload channel and his live stream channel is his live stream channel. Do they give us the ability to network these channels together so that it's easy to find us when we're live versus when we're not? That's one of the hardest transitions we've had to make with going to work to play and putting live content like live letters and more, our coverage of those over there, so that like, hey, people are like, oh, I didn't, you know, like I was looking for you at work to game. Even with videos and announcements and things like that, it becomes a challenge to sit here and say, hey, go and subscribe here if you want live content, if you want live letter content, if you want X, you know, type of content. And maybe YouTube will make it easier. Honestly, I'm very curious to see what they do in the long run, and hopefully they make YouTube gaming a thing that really makes sense for gamers all around. The reason is that if you have a strong Twitch and you have a strong YouTube and you have a strong Mixer and you have a strong platform all over the board, gamers win, content creators win, viewers win, because people are competing for that. If there's only just one winner and everybody else is just trying to play catch up, well, there's opportunities within that, but obviously, like you clearly have one versus the many, and it takes a lot of work. We've seen that over and over again with social media. Like there isn't a second Twitter, there isn't another place you can really go for a lot of uploaded content like there is with YouTube. Facebook's trying to compete, but they're still behind. Like there's all that. Anyway, without making this video just like annoyingly long, that's my thoughts. YouTube gaming, I expect more in 2020, and I really hope that they can deliver, because I think that when it comes down to it, like YouTube gaming could be a great place for gamers. It could be a great place for streaming. But everything they were saying so far to date hasn't really at least made sense to me, to the point where I'm kind of in a wait and see pattern. And all that being said, I'd love to know your thoughts. Are you excited that PewDiePie is going to be live streaming? Are you not? There's so much that we could discuss just in that topic alone, but I look forward to your thoughts in the comments below. It's been Brian on a random, rant. Dear YouTube gaming, please not suck kind of perspective. But with that, I love you guys very much. Hope you guys having a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.